Welcome to Market Matters. I'm Nadia Hassan together with Sulhi Azman. And Sulhi, do you know what date it is today? It is October 21st, 2015. Do you know why that date's special?
Well, it is the day where the Back to the Future guys are supposed to come back to the Earth.
Exactly. So, that movie was made in 1989 and today is supposed to be the day he comes back to save his future children. And I still see no hoverboards.
Yeah,
I look at why is there no hoverboards and self-tying sneakers? I mean, we have 3D, I suppose that's okay, but no flying cars.
Yes,
just
no
drones.
flying cars.
But actually, going on to our market, talking about flying, right? It's not up that much, up a couple of points to 1,707 points. Market volume, though, was actually quite healthy, 2.4 billion shares. Gainers outstripped losers, 537 to 310. But actually, what I was reading a lot of reports, right? So was that it's going to actually remain very range bound. I think there's not a lot of catalysts that people are looking at. A lot of people are looking at probably external measures?
Yeah, external measures, but I mean, for the domestic ones, I think the market is still a bit cautious pending the budget announcement this Friday, right?
Oh, yes, of course. We do have a budget special coming up, actually. Please keep your eye out for that. But yeah, it is supposed to be, and then of course, value cap's going to pump in some money, and people like they're pumping.
Yeah, 20 billion.
But I looked at it regionally as well. In Asia, things were a little bit choppy. They followed Wall Street's lead. Wall Street didn't have the best of days yesterday. But the Shanghai index was very hit and miss. You were looking at it, right?
Yeah, Shanghai was down 105 points, so as Nikkei 225, which was up on the other hand by 347 points. Now, Japanese stock rose on Wednesday as investors shrug off weak trade data amid brightening sentiment and growing expectations that the Bank of Japan is going to ease the monetary policy. Is Abenomics working? That's a question.
I think it just gave him a little bit of boost after the whole TPP thing, more than anything else. But yeah, like we were saying, Nikkei was up about 347, Shanghai down. Shanghai, I don't know, there's going to be a lot of data coming up and we'll have to see how people actually sort of continue to digest it. But we'll have to see. Shanghai was very weird. It just suddenly in the afternoon is as if somebody just got to chill. Maybe
Yeah.
Marty McFly came back, who knows. But moving on to our hot stock of the day, we're looking at a company called UEM Sunrise. It was actually up about 2.5% to 1 ringgit 20. It was actually up as high as about 5% during the day. And the stock's actually risen by 53% since mid-August, which is impressive. It had a sharp fall, of course, because they have big guys in Nusajaya, and everybody is still on that story.
Yeah, I mean, the market there is a bit softening, and they have 75% of land bank exposure there, so the weak sentiment is actually forcing the share price to drop then, but now it has picked up. Now, interestingly, Nadia, in the Edge Financial Daily, we've seen they reported that the UEM Group and Samsung Consortium is expected or close to bagging the 3.4 billion ringgit construction portion of the KL118 skyscraper. Now, this was previously known as Menara Warisan Merdeka by PNB, but do we need another tower in KL?
Well, I think that's why, the thing's worth 3.4 billion. So that's why I suppose people actually saw a slight jump in their share price, because there are a couple of other guys who are doing it as well. MRCB with China State Construction, WCT, Arab Tech, they all are bidding for it. But apparently, according to sources that told the Edge Financial Daily, that they were pretty much, basically UEM was going to be the one. The story about whether we need another skyscraper, I don't know. I mean, I've always seen as tall buildings as an extension for somebody who's building them. I don't know if everybody feels that way about it. But, aside from that, UEM Sunrise is also very bullish on their Australia project. So we'll have to see whether or not they kind of win this contract, because let's see whether or not that comes out. But the Australian project is going to be their main thing. There were some issues with Victorian government actually controlling the supply. But they're still looking for land in Melbourne and Sydney. I don't know, how do you feel about
I feel,
prices?
hopefully that they can actually recover from that. I mean, property is always on a yo-yo trend at the moment. And if you look at it, 75% in Nusajaya, and the property sales has dropped actually from 1.9 billion ringgit in 2013 to 263 million in 2014. And we've yet to see whether that could sort of drive earnings for this year.
But don't you think that if they do get that project, it'll be a big boost?
I think it would definitely be a boost for the company, basically.
We'll have to see how it goes. Anyway, so basically, just to bring things all home, the company is considered the front runner with its Korean partner to build KL118. It's going to cost something along the lines of 3.4 billion. The company, however, did take a bit of hit from its Nusajaya operations, mostly because everybody feels there's a bit of caution over there. But its Australian venture, their maiden one is already launched. Let's see whether or not they can actually pair that off. But moving on to our stocks of momentum, which is basically brought to us by the Edge Research, where we talk about stocks that may actually move up or move down. We've got two negative today to sort of counteract the fact that we had two positive a couple of days ago. First one is, and I will ask you, paraphrase this with this question. Sasbadi Holdings Bhd, when you were growing up, Did you all have Sasbadi books?
Yes, I think I have a lot of Sasbadi books at home, from tuitions, from school textbooks, and even from reference book I've seen in the library, basically.
Yeah, it was either Sasbadi or Pelangi, I
Pelangi.
think everybody had. But this stock's interesting because it's actually doubled from 1 ringgit 36, and which was end January this year. Today it sort of took a little bit of a hit, 0.73% to 2 ringgit 73. So the funny thing about this is that they think that it's run out of steam. It has actually doubled quite considerably, but I've not seen any kind of new announcement except for late September that they're buying Sanjo Unggul Senyum Berhad.
Yeah, I mean, they are going to acquire 70% stake in Sanjo Unggul, where they want to penetrate into the Chinese school. Basically, you know, Sanjo Unggul, they have about 1,300 titles and supplying to Chinese schools, because at the moment, Sasbadi is supplying to national schools following the MOE curriculum. This sort of bode well for them. But they're also, you know, expanding into the tertiary education, where they want to buy Mantisa College in TTDI for 2.6 million ringgit. This would really, I mean, boost earnings. But I think, you know, it's a bit, I mean, the amount is a bit small, because Mantisa, you know, I mean, has 300 students, and you know, we don't really know whether that could actually be accretive to earnings.
Yeah, so that's the funny thing about Sasbadi, right? I mean, and the thing is, these days, my nieces and nephews, they barely go to books. They actually have a lot of stuff online. You know, there's sort of spike in paper prices. Is that going to be tough for them? I mean, I don't know. If you had a kid, would you actually go online or rather still buy these books?
I mean, I don't know. For me, I think I would still buy books, because, you know, having physical books is going to be a little bit easier, especially for studying.
Okay, so moving on to our second negative momentum stock of the day, we're looking at Inari Amertron, actually up about 5%, 5.7% to be honest, to 3 ringgit 67. But how much has the stock risen right by? You told me, and I was quite amazed.
It has risen by about 28% since mid-August this year, and it's also the top 10 gainer in the local bourse today.
Yeah, it's very quiet though, this stock on Bursa Malaysia. I mean, there were a couple of research houses that are quite bullish on it. CIMB, I saw they initiated research. They have what they call an ADD call, which I think some people, it's not attention deficit disorder. It's actually a positive call. They have a target price of 450, and actually at 367, even then you still have a lot of room to grow. I mean, do you believe the story of the confidence where they think radio frequency is going to be big for them?
I mean, I think so too, because if you look at the company, right, they have major clients. One single key customer, Avago, which is listed in Nasdaq but based in Singapore. Avago, if you know, that they actually supply chips bought to Apple.
A small little company called Apple, is it?
No, I mean, it's
Yes,
a big company called Apple, you know, the smartphones and so on. So I think a lot of analysts are actually very bullish on this, because Avago, you know, they are going to grow given the rising adoption of LTE, smartphone variants, and also for the integration of RF rule.
Well, actually, they actually do have pretty good earnings. I saw their earnings, their net profits up like 40%, which is quite impressive. But I think in terms of share price, I don't see any new catalysts. You wonder if there's anything sort of brewing behind the scenes. I mean, that's why, because you see this massive jump, and you wonder why there's sort of like no new developments to drive it.
Yeah, I mean, the business is a little bit, you know...
Well, it's unique.
It's unique, yeah,
Right,
it's very
okay.
unique. But
So
I think, you know, they're also a strong beneficiary of the US dollars.
Yeah, of course. That's one big thing to kind of look out for. So just to bring it all home, the fact is that we have two negative stocks with momentum. The first one, Sasbadi, maker of books. They have no kind of new developments at the moment, but their share price is a bit kind of weak. But we'll have to see how their push into education does for them. And of course, the other one is Inari Amertron. They do seem to have the positive vibe from the research houses, but no new developments, have questions about why the share price keeps rising.